Morning. How are you? My name is Diego Gonzalez-Zuniga. I'm a researcher from Samsung R&D, and I work specifically for the Samsung Internet team. And it's an honor to be here talking to you guys about progressive web VR applications, how they can be a modern approach to doing VR experiences. Before we get into the web VR stuff, I want to ask if you guys know what is Samsung Internet. Can I see some hands if you know what Samsung Internet is? OK, good. Well, Samsung Internet is the company's web browser. It's the default browser for Galaxy devices, so it's going to come in pre-installed on your phones and tablets, and it's a browser that can also be installed in Android. Now, you might be thinking, why do I care? The thing is that Samsung Internet is the third most used browser in Europe and in several different other territories. And we have significant engineering effort in defining standards. Standards that range from web payments to VR on the web. And this is how we can start connecting the presentation. If we talk about Switzerland, we are in third place with a 12% market share, Germany around an 18%, and France around an 11%. And you can see more or less that we are sharing with Chrome and Safari the market share. But also you should care because independent from our competitors, we are a browser that we focus a lot on privacy with content blocking APIs. We are best-in-class device integration in Samsung devices. And before this starts looking like an ad, we are an evergreen browser. And this is a concept very important in the browser vendors, because evergreen means that it's a browser that's modern and that's supporting the latest updates and APIs that are available. So this means that the browser is going to be constantly updated. There are several APIs here that are important and are relevant if you're talking about VR experiences, and I've highlighted 3 of them. I'm going to start with the non-highlighted ones. If we talk about voice recognition, you can do voice recognition nowadays in the browser. You could do web audio and handle positional audio for VR scenes in a browser as well. You have the Gamepad API that allows you to connect controllers and gamepads, standard Bluetooth controllers like the Xbox controller, PlayStation controller, and other gamepads to the browser. And you can even do now payments via the browser. Now, if we look at how can this be interesting from a VR perspective, we can think about Web VR API, the physical web, and service workers, which are the ones that enable the concept of progressive web app. So let's look at these 3 a bit more in depth. Web VR is pretty much a way that the browser allows you to contact VR devices. So through the browser, you can query which are the VR devices and controllers that are connected, and you can develop experiences this way. The very cool thing about this is that you only need a browser. You only need a relatively modern browser like Samsung Internet, Mozilla Firefox, Microsoft Edge, and Google Chrome that will support the API. Once you have this, you can port your existing content, be it videos, games, pictures, by using the browser and a mobile or any other device. The very nice thing about the web VR implementations is that you can scale gracefully from something that is just a magic window where you're seeing the content being portrayed by the gyroscope and accelerometer up to an HTC Vive experience with 6 degrees of freedom. You can even use a headset, of course. This is optional. What we want to show here is that the content is content that can scale and that will travel with the user in a way that the user wants to experience it. Progressive web apps, and here I'm going to apologize because the slide is a bit filled with text, but it's such a powerful concept and it's such a cool technology that it would be unfair to leave one of these outside. Basically, progressive web app is the idea that you can take a website or a web application and make it have an icon on the home screen You can also make it work offline. It should be quickly to load. It's also going to be something that has access to notifications. Notifications are key in keeping the user engaged in your applications or VR applications. You can have access to device features if you wanted to do a VR application that has access to the microphone in order to create this type of experience. You can have access to the microphone, you can have access to geolocation or to other sensors in the device. You can make experiences where it's very easy to pay as well. The idea of web payments coming through the browser and being already embedded is very powerful. And of course, everything that we already know and love the web for. It's very secure. It's accessed by a URL, and this is key because this means that we can share our VR experiences by just sending a link. The same way I found something on the web, I liked it, I sent it on a WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger to a friend. They clicked on this link and they're already experiencing it. This is the same way that the VR can be distributed using the web. So it's easy to share, it's easy to discover, and it has responsive design. And by responsive design, we're talking about progressive enhancement from only a mobile to a full room-scale VR experience. Physical web is another concept that's quite interesting because it relies on physical beacons that can broadcast a URL. So think about the use scenario where you're walking in a shopping center or in front of a store, and all of a sudden this notification pops in your phone because you allowed it to, saying, hey, there's this new content available, VR content, or you're walking in front of a cinema and you get this promotional VR website where you have some information about the movie. So you can just look at the notification, you click on it, and immediately you're engaged. You're starting to experience VR content on the phone. And of course, this is a great way to get the user engaged into exploring a more in-depth VR application. In simple words, what you can do is you can go from a physical object or location to the browser, and then to the home screen, and finally to a headset. And you can get these type of experiences in less than 1 second, everything working. The delivery platform, which I've seen is something that we are all quite interested in this conference, well, you have at your disposal only the widest delivery network in existence, which is the web. And you can choose the platform of your, let's say, the carrier of your choice on web browsing, be it Samsung Internet, Firefox, Chrome, Edge, Opera, Oculus, or Safari. The cost of entry for consumers, it's relatively low, pretty much. If you have a phone, if you have with you a phone right now, then you can experience already web VR. You only need a web browser, an internet connection for the first time, and you can already start clicking and going to links that will give you access to VR experiences. You know, the web has been around already for 25 years. We don't see it going anywhere. We think that it's going to be the preferred method for distributing VR content, the same way it became the preferred way for distributing video content. I want to point out also that this is not a brand thing. This is not Samsung is saying that web VR or VR on the web should be done this way. This is a joint effort between Samsung, Mozilla, Microsoft, Google, the W3C, which is the body that defines the web standards. So we're all working together into getting this standardized and hopefully used by lots of developers and content creators. Because the way that you would create content is very, very easy. There are already plenty of frameworks, plenty of engines, and it's quite exciting to get into this technology. There has never been a more innovative time for the web platform. Several years ago, you could not do the kind of powerful things that you can do with a browser now, and we should all get this idea that the browser is just this client where we just go and look for web pages, check our emails, and check our social feeds. It's a very powerful platform, and it's something that we as content producers and creatives should be embracing in our projects. Here are some useful links For our team, we're constantly advocating not only for web VR, we're advocating for web technologies that are standards in general. So if you're interested in learning more about how can you integrate this into your production pipeline, please drop us a line and we'll be more than happy to help you and clear any doubt that might be with the technology. Thank you very much.